Alright, so we're in the back room on the car wash. One of my guys came to me and said that the soap wasn't coming out in the tunnel. This happens to be the pump for the soap. So we're going to talk about a couple things to diagnose the problem, basically process of elimination, and get down to the problem. Whenever you're diagnosing a problem anywhere, you want to start with the easiest, the most simple. For this type of pump, which is an air pump, the easiest thing would be, is it getting air pressure? So what we did is we checked. Luckily, I have a couple other pumps. We checked, we made sure, we went in the back, overread the system. So right now I know I have air pressure. If that's working, it's running off the same system, I know I have air pressure. So if the air pressure is working, the next problem it could be, is the pump itself broken, or is it a solenoid? So we're going to override the solenoid and we're going to check to make sure the pump is working. How we'll do that is we'll just pop this off. We'll take this one off since we know it's working, and we'll switch it. So now what I did is I bypassed the solenoid for the soap and I'm running off the wax solenoid since we know that that's working. So I'm going to go in the back, I'm going to turn it on. And it's working. So I know the pump is working. So really the only other thing it could be is the solenoid, which is up here. So right now what I'm going to do, we're going to test the electric on here to make sure there's not something else that we were missing. We're going to use one of these. We're going to get off camera. I'm going to open this. I'm going to test the power. Once he hits that relay in the back over there, we're going to see if it has power. It shouldn't have power because we pretty much overrid it, but it's better to be safe before we start pulling things off. What I'm going to do is, if I don't have power to here, I'm going to put these back, get this one working again, and looks like I have two spares right here, which were old sources that we don't use anymore. So until I order the part, I'm going to take this one off and put it there. So we'll show you guys how to do that.
Yep.
Alright, so we tested the power, and this had power. So what we did is we just removed the wire. It's two wires. There's two blue wires on here. Never done this before, but based on the two wires, it looks like it doesn't matter which side goes to where, but we will see. What we did is we removed this one screw, and basically it slid right off the valve. So the solenoid came right off that valve. What this solenoid does is the computer gives this a charge, gives it power, and it opens and closes this air valve right here. So what had happened was the solenoid went bad, so the air was stuck closed, so it's not getting any air pressure to that pump. So again, we took this off. We're going to take this one since we're not using it, and we're going to switch it. So we'll come back on camera once I pull this off, and we'll see if we have any luck. Alright, so we're back. You may ask yourself why I'm wearing a different shirt. It's not because I went home and changed, it's because it's another day. It happens to be the next day. Remember we spoke that we changed the solenoids. First thing I did is I test the pump, which is right here, by simply switching the two air pipes, air hoses. So we found that the pump was working. So I said, alright, I'm getting power to it. It's not an air pressure problem. It's probably the solenoid. So what we did is we took the solenoid from here that was working the last time I used it, switched it, turned it on. What happened? It blew the fuse. So I remember yesterday when I was talking to you guys that, that most likely 90% was the issue. So when we changed it, now what? It's blowing a fuse. What do? Do I just call an electrician, have the guy come for 45 minutes, smoke a cigarette, charge me for the hour, tell me he can't fix it, just go and start ripping the board apart? You guys can see the wires back there. For an electrician to come into a car wash, they don't like doing it. They don't really understand the system. So it takes time, but you really should try and learn it. So we changed the solenoid. I'm 99% certain that this solenoid is working. Every time I turn it on, I'm blowing a fuse. What does that mean? That means that there's a short somewhere. So I want to check this wire, the positive wire, and check if there's a short. Now you ask yourself how you can do that. You can follow this wire all the way up into that box that I'm going to remove. It goes all the way into that tube, and it comes down into here. So if we come back here, we're going to get back on camera. I'm going to grab a light so you guys can see, and we're going to find out which wire it is. The game plan is pulling out that wire, and we're going to test the ohms. What that does is once we disconnect the wire from there, disconnect the wire from here, technically we should just have a freestanding wire. If I test it for ohms, that means it's shorting somewhere. It's touching metal somewhere. If I get a positive reading for ohms, what that's telling me is 1 in a million that for some reason the wire broke down over time and is touching somewhere. It's very rare that that happens, but I'm 99% certain that that solenoid is good. I'm 100% certain that that pump is good. So the only other thing it could be, if I pop this wire out and jump the system and I'm not blowing a fuse, the only thing left it could be is the wire. So we're gonna come back, I'll grab a light and we'll check it out. All right, so we're back. We got the light. We have 2 wires. We have the 2 blue coming from the solenoid, so we're just gonna scratch those. We have a white and we have a red. By now you guys should know red is the power. So we disconnected the red. We're gonna leave it right here. We're gonna go into the back. All right, so we're at the box, the control panel. We're gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the soap former we're having an issue with. Open this up, and you squeeze in here. And you have relays. You have relays and you have fuses. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the soap former relay. These are the 2 fuses. And here are the wires. Now we have to find out which wire it is. If I look very close, I see that the middle wire is getting jumped to the other relay. And I see that the bottom wire, if I can pull this out, is the one that we need. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cap this off. I'm gonna go back to the other side and I'm gonna take a reading of that wire because right now it's disconnected from here, it's disconnected from the other side. This wire feeds through this spaghetti, goes through a metal tube. So if I get a positive reading of ohms, that means to tell me somewhere down the road, down this highway of wire, it's touching. Maybe the coating broke down, it's touching somewhere, it's grounding itself. So we're gonna see, we'll go and we'll take a reading, and I'm about 99% certain that I should be getting a reading. Because off camera I did disconnect this and I popped the switch and I was not getting a trip, meaning no fuses were being blown. So we're gonna check and see. All right, we'll be right back. All right, so we got a multimeter. You're gonna switch that multimeter to ohms. A little horseshoe looking thing. Now we need a ground. So I'm going to put that ground in here. Try to get a good reading. And now I'm going to touch that red, and if we get a reading, that means that this is shorting somewhere. All right. So what that tells me is 1 in a million. That's somewhere down the road. This wire broke down. Somewhere in here broke down. So what that tells me is now I'm going to have to get a wire, which I already got it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zip tie, tape this wire to here, and I'm just going to pull it through and hope that it works, because that's the only other thing we could do. We have to replace this wire, and there's no other way to get it all the way through here. Most likely I'm going to start through that box and try to find it. So we're going to do that off camera, come back and see if we have some success. All right, we'll be back. Ready, home slice? Okay. No. So I got that wire. I'm going to give it a little jiggy. There it is, it's moving. I have my little dental pick. I'm going to pull it. Good. So, before I pull this all the way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie the other end of the new wire to here. Because once I get it up here, it's going to be difficult to go into here and get that down. So,
wow, that's
I'm going to
impressive.
take this wire. Thanks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to electrical tape it, maybe even use a zip tie for extra protection. But I don't think I'm going to use a zip tie because it's going to make it more difficult. So I'm going to try to really do the best I can to get this to here and be as slim as possible. The more tape, the more things you put on here, the more chance you have of it to snag on something. So we'll come right back. I'm going to think and try my best to get these two together. Not sure how I'm going to do it yet. All right? All right, so we had Cheryl up there pull on the wire. She really gave a nice pull on that wire right there. So we followed it all the way through while I was sitting in here with a light. And once she gave a real snug pull, I found that it was this wire. So what I'm gonna do is watch when I pull it. Okay, it's going. Okay. So that wire's coming through, as you can see. Alright, so I'm gonna get back off camera, do my job, come back and let's see how it works out. Alright, all we're doing now is just tedious work. Feeding it through. It's all zip tied here. Feeding it through. I understand the whole reason I'm showing you guys this is really it's not that complicated. Of course, if you were to come in here and just look at it, the first thing you'd want to do is just call someone. So anyone to problem solve this, you're looking at thousands. So what we're doing is we're just pushing on the wire, seeing where it is. Okay, right here. Getting our little toothpick. Feeding it through. Very tedious, very annoying. Making me wish I did better in school. No, I'm just
Stop
kidding.
with that.
But that's it. So we'll come back. Let's see where this never-ending wire goes to. And we'll see how we do it. All right, we'll be back. All right, so here's our wire. Came from all the way up there, all the way up there. So now I rewired it back into here. You could see I didn't go crazy. You know, I could have went in every single one, but I'm trying to go home tonight. Went all the way here. And now something that I just found is this wire went right into here. It's basically like a little jump box. The reason people put this is so it doesn't go directly from the source directly to that relay. So it's gonna go into here and then it comes out. Same thing, it's basically just connected. That's all this is, it's one connection. So it's called like a jumper box. So I'm gonna put the new wire here and obviously I'm gonna change this wire that goes directly all the way up back into here. So no point just changing one wire, we're gonna change everything. It would be silly to do all this work and then leave this wire. Okay, so we're gonna come back, I'm gonna put it back in here, then I'm gonna resplice it and go back out here, all the way up, back into the spaghetti, and then into the box. All right, so we're almost done. You guys can see the wire right here. Instead of going into the jumper box, I actually bypass it because the issue could be in the jumper box. So today's Friday, tomorrow's gonna be a busy Saturday. I don't feel like messing with it because I'm down to my last fuse. So I spliced it right there, came up, and we're out over here. Here's the wire. Cheryl, you wanna hold this? Okay, the wire came out right here. I'm just gonna put one splice on here. I'm gonna go back in here and we're gonna test fire it, see how it is.
It works.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right, so 2 hours later, after rewiring everything, it's the moment of truth. It's coming the back. Cross your fingers. Fire extinguisher ready. It's awesome. Working. Beautiful. Running the way it should. Perfect. Now I can go home and go to sleep. Wired the right way. Today I ran a wire across. It's not the right way to do it. You know, if a mouse or raccoon comes in here, a cat, it could chew the wires. So this is the right way to do it. Remember, we split this because I wasn't sure if the problem was in there. It's not worth it on a busy Saturday to mess around. So that's about it. Just want to show you guys, don't give up. Don't just run and call someone. For someone to do the job that we did today, helps to have a girlfriend, but someone to hold a flashlight.
How nice.
But you know, that's about it. You know, we did it ourselves. We problem solved it. Hopefully my video can help you guys. It doesn't just have to be a car wash. Could be at your house. Could be an electrical outlet. And that's about it. Any questions, comment down below.